For Dominic Crossan, the political situation of first century Judaism, about how it played out, Christianity played out in terms of its relationship to Rome, because there was a contrast made, I think, also by N.T. Wright, between Caesar, who was seen as God, Caesar's kingdom, Caesar's power, and Dominic Crossan and N.T. Wright, I think, both made the point in different ways that when Jesus was proclaimed as the risen Lord, that this was really a counter-cultural thing going on politically, completely denying the kingship, the authority of Caesar. And so I think that both of them wanted to consider the cash question. Well, how does this resurrection, whether symbolic or physical, how does it play out in our understanding of politics and society today? And to put in Dominic Crossan's words, how do the rogues, or something like this, not exact his words, but generally speaking, he said, how the rogues get justice. That's what I want to know, he says, concerning your view of the resurrection. How do the rogues get justice? So what are my thoughts about the debate? I thought the debate was wonderful. I thought that Dominic Crossan is a wonderful guy. He just really makes me laugh. He's so funny, and he's so warm, and he's so lovable. And N.T. Wright makes me stand in awe sometimes at the sheer knowledge that he brings out concerning first century Judaism. You can see that he completely has grasped his subject. And when he did this debate, it wasn't long ago before he'd finished his book on the resurrection. So all the knowledge that he gained through that research came into this debate. I think what I got out of the debate is that there is a strong argument to press to skeptics, and that argument is this: how do you explain the rise of Christianity? How do you explain the different theological trajectories of Christianity as opposed to Judaism? For example, N.T. Wright's two-sphere resurrection. How do you account for that as opposed to the one-sphere resurrection in various parts of Judaism? And so there are questions that the skeptics, I think, need to ask, and the burden of proof is often put on the Christian to prove the resurrection. But I think it works two ways. I think there's a burden of proof on the skeptic to answer some very tough historical questions. And the questions that the skeptic needs to answer is, how did first century Judaism metamorphose into Christianity? And how did Christianity come about? What is your historical explanation? And what I think is that those explanations that come don't really take into consideration all the data. So, for example, you will get Richard Carrier, and he will say that Jesus is just part of the Mithra dying and rising gods. And three problems with Richard Carrier, the atheist, who's the main scholar for the atheists these days on the resurrection. Three problems there. He uses the Bayes theorem, so his historical method is just incorrect. Nobody uses the Bayes theorem in historical inquiry, or if they do, that it's a very rare thing. But the Bayes theorem basically comes down to the computation that you put into your assessment of what you want to assess. So you basically put in the probabilities of a particular historical situation based on the basic factual information that you can gain, and then from that basic factual information, the likelihood, probability of X and Y,